We have previously found the percent of a number. For example, when we were to take 54% of 88, we would have gotten 47.52. Of, as we had talked about before, normally means to multiply. 54%, you would change it to a decimal and multiply. So 54% of 88 is 47.52. Check to see if it makes sense. Now, in today's lesson, you're going to learn the percent of increase and decrease. My goal to teach you today is to find a percent of change in a quantity. To find a percent of change in a quantity. So vocabulary, these are the three sets of terms that you're going to be familiar with this lesson that you'll be seeing. Percent of change. It shows the amount of quantity has increased or decreased in comparison with the original amount. Easy. Percent of increase is if the new amount is greater than the original amount, the percent of change is called a percent of increase. If the new amount is less than the original amount, then the percent of change is called a percent of decrease. Percent of change shows a quantity has increased or decreased in comparison with the original amount. This is the formula that you're going to have to remember. In order to find what the percent is, you take the amount of increase or decrease, that's going to be your numerator, over your original amount. So let's do an example of this. What is the percent of increase from 16 to 28? So the first thing that you'll need to do is you need to determine what the difference is of 28 and 16. And that's 12. So you take that will be your numerator, 12, over your original amount, which was 16. You can simplify that, which would be 3 over 4. Now we're trying to determine the percent of the increase in this number. So 4 times 25 is 100, so 3 times 25 is 75. So the percent of increase would be 75%. Now, let's do an example of percent of decrease. What is the percent of decrease from 60 to 12? So again, you're going to take 60, you'll subtract 12, you'll get 48. 48 will be your numerator because that is the difference. Then your denominator is the original amount. Then you simplify to 4 over 5. Again, we're trying to determine what the percent of increase is or decrease. This is a decrease. 5 times 20 is 100, so 4 times 20 is 80. So there was an 80% decrease. The original amount was 60. The new amount was 12. So the difference is your numerator. The original amount is your denominator. You're trying to determine what the percent is of that increase or decrease. And 80% is your final answer. Using the previous examples to look back at, I want you to do 3 on your own and come back and check. You'll notice in the first example, the original was 75, the new was 105, so that was going to be an increase. So we took the two numbers, we subtracted them and got 30. So we took 30, we put it over our original amount, then we reduced it to 2 over 5. Then we needed to find out what 2/5 was in a percent. So 5 times 20 is 100. 2 times 20 is 40, so it was an increase of 40%. In B, the original was 80, the new was 56. So we subtracted to get the difference, of 24. And we put 24 over the original amount. We simplified it to 3 over 10. 3 over 10 in a percent is 30%. So it was a decrease of 30%. The number of visits to Kobuk Valley National Park in Alaska dropped from 6,000 in 1999 to 2,400 in 2000. What was the percent of decrease? Okay, you're going to find the difference in the two amounts, put it over the original amount, which was in 1999, determine what the percent of increase or decrease was. So again, we took the numbers. The original amount was 6,000. So we took it and it went to 2,400. So we took the difference of that, which is 3,600. So we put 3,600 over the original amount of 6,000, and we simplified that to 3/5. And we needed to put it in a percent. So 3/5 is equal to 60 over 100. And last but not least, 60% decrease is your final answer. Here's another word problem. Alaska's population increased from 550,000 people in 1990 to 627,000 in 2000. What is the percent of increase? So we took the difference. 627,000 minus 550,000, which was 77,000. We put that over the original amount. We simplified that to 7 over 50. Then put it in a percent. And our final answer would be it's a 14% increase. Number 6, the number of pieces of express mail handled by the U.S. Postal Service increased by about 20% from 1990 to 2000. The U.S. Postal Service handled 59 million pieces of express mail in 1990. How many pieces of express mail did they handle in 2000? So let's look at what we know here. We know that they handled 59 million pieces in 1990. The question is asked, and then we also know that it increased by 20%. How many pieces of express mail did they handle in the year 2000? So we know in 1990 that they had 59 million. That increased by 20%. How much did they then handle in 2000? So since we know that it increased by 20%, that meant it at least made the 59 million, which was 100%, and it increased by 20. So we're going to take 59 million and we're going to multiply it times 1.2. So after we multiplied it, your final answer would be 70,800,000 pieces of mail.